My name's Holly Jones, and I'm doing my speech basically on genetically modified organisms. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with that, but there's actually a movie based on some of those, which is Jurassic Park. Most people are not aware of the fact that they're genetically modified organisms, where they actually take a capsule and inject genes with a little gun that interferes with like animals and plants binding to each other to form like new organisms. GMOs actually make up to 70 to 75% of processed foods in the U.S. at this point. They're found in many processed foods, which includes like corn syrup, sugars, flour, soy oil, corn oil, hot dogs, soy sauce, cornmeal, and even infant formula, which is horrible. The FDA does not require extensive research to verify how these are available for consumption and the benefits of them. I've actually got a PowerPoint kind of demonstrating like what they're doing to different plants and fruits and stuff, adding different chemicals to actually enhance them with different bacterias and stuff, which can get out into the world and cause like a really detrimental effect on the U.S. And the world in general. Testing facilities for GMO research are not free from contaminating local crops, which can be scary actually. We have a lot of fields that are really scary at this point with crossbreeding, and we actually have a lot of insects that can carry those for several miles, which can involve contamination to our organic foods and whatnot. My research actually comes from many local scientists in Hawaii and farmers that are a part of a non-profit group actually called Earth Justice, which they actually monitor Hawaii's agriculture and really stick up for the INA and protect like the schools and the children, and really want things to be safe that are in the air and the land for all of our people here in Hawaii. The possible health risks that GMOs pose, limited research right now is being done. They actually require much more research on drugs and different pharmaceutical requirements for many products on the market right now. And this is actually one of the examples I'd like to show where the corn is kind of showing that they actually a lot of the fields, they inject them with different chemicals and drugs to try to help with health benefits, but in turn that's actually kind of setting loose a monster out into the crop products, which can be scary for everybody because a lot of people may be allergic to those, or it can crossbreed, causing like a monstrous detrimental event. Non-edible seeds and debris tend to spread from research sites to our land and water. Supplies contaminating native plants that wildlife depend on for nourishment actually here in Hawaii. And we're such a small island, it's kind of tough to actually isolate that, and a lot of the wind can carry seeds, and a lot of the people can definitely spread that to our INA pretty quickly, causing a detrimental effect on our community, changing a lot of the actual natural native plant life and the animals that actually feed off that, and the people in general that depend on that and don't have allergies to that. We're actually requiring that more studies need to be done to ensure less environmental impact at this point. Eating GMO fruit and throwing the seeds can definitely contaminate. Health issues on the rise in Hawaii in the last decade may be actually proven to GMOs, but how would we ever actually pinpoint that to that? GMO manufacturing would be here in Hawaii. We've actually have prematurity in infants. Attention deficit disorder is definitely on the rise, in diabetes, and we can ignore this, or we can actually take it into an event and actually realize that it may be part of the production of, you know, many chemicals that actually inspire some of these different diseases. So we can either continue to ignore these signs or health risks, or we can actually address them. And some possible other health risks that may occur when modifying plants' genes would be like human allergies may develop. Many people aren't aware of, you know, being allergic to actually different genes and different bacteria until they're actually exposed to it. And a lot of the plants like in Molokai and Kauai are actually pretty close to elementary schools and stuff like that. And, you know, what better way to find out that, you know, our kids in our Aina are allergic to them than putting the plants right next to their schools, you know, and the wind blows it into their classrooms. And it's kind of like asbestos. You can take that away, but can you take away a living substance? You can't. So actually there was one specific case in Kona that was proposed. A GMO for a certain type of algae was proposed in Kona, and a recent study, actually a lot of activists in Kona took it to court, and it went through litigation for quite a while, and we actually denied letting that go through. And what in turn happened was a study was actually taken to London, and the 6 participants that actually were a part of that study, the 6 participants ended up in ICU on respiratory arrest. So we can only imagine what that would have happened had we have had just rolled over and let that, you know, study been done in Kona. That is a very risky, you know, event. And once again, food for thought. You know, it kind of shows some example of like our different GMOs taking over our world. And you know, this is kind of scary. You know, letting, you know, a lot of the big industries that are biotech corporations, a lot of them that are actually doing the specific studies on these GMOs for their own benefit. You know, if they always say if one thing goes wrong, then everything goes wrong. So if you have one specific type of, you know, genetic material that you guys are all living off of for a food source, and one little issue goes wrong with it, it goes wrong for everything. So I just want to point out, you know, that in hopes, you know, by combining plants and animals at a molecular level, can be compared to splitting atoms. And you know, generally in nature this would never happen, so we're inspiring this chain of events on our own, and we need to be prepared basically for the detrimental actions that can occur or can happen. And the biggest thing I want to point out is that, you know, once again, we can recall something like asbestos. It's a dead material, and make sure nobody breathes it in or doesn't, you know, use it again. But we can't recall a life form. Life forms breed, they adapt, they, you know, basically create new life forms. And this world as we know it will never be the same. So in hopes of educating everybody, I'm hoping at the end of this lecture you'll basically go home and educate your family and friends and tell them that we need to have the rights to basically, you know, choose with labeling if we want to purchase genetically modified organisms in our food, in everyday processed food, or if we would actually like the right to have it on the label like many countries, and you know, take that with a grain of salt and say, you know, we'd rather not have that, and get rid of these companies that are trying to mass produce, you know, for their own benefit. So any questions, you guys? Like
yeah. Oh damn. Fucking pen.